It's time to look ahead to the 2016 Upstate baseball season. We are joined by head coach Matt Fincher, who has been a fixture here on campus. And coach, you've seen a lot of these seasons come and go. As we break this one down, what's the forefront of your mind going into 2016?
Well, I think the first thing about the season is we're hopeful that age is going to help us improve. The last couple of years we've been playing numbers of young players, and this year we have a lot of juniors and some JC transfers on our team that we're hopeful that are going to improve with age and experience, and we're hoping that'll make a difference on the field.
Let's talk about those pieces and how they come together. Obviously, Zach Kreider is back, also Daniel Fickus, two of the big names that folks will remember from last year. Who else among the returners are you excited about progress-wise?
Well, we are really excited about Fickus and Kreider. Both had good seasons last year. Chuck Carpenter had a very good season last year. He was a freshman All-American, and so we're gonna, he's a guy that we would lean on. In the outfield, you have a couple of guys coming back in Cody Britton and James Folks that we're hopeful. And the pitching staff, we have numbers of guys back on it. Zach Mitchell being one, Blake Whitney, Eric Berkland certainly is somebody we're looking at to make strides and improvement. Tyler Jackson is back again this year. So we feel like, we're aging on the mound, which is really important. And, we've seen improvement in all of them, and we're hopeful that that'll continue through the spring.
You led off talking about being just a little older, and you referenced it again right there. Pitching is where that's so important, Coach. Talk about the progression that happens from one year to the next with the staff.
Yeah. Well, that is interesting. They come in, too many times as freshmen, and they had outstanding high school careers, obviously, which is how they get here. And they don't realize how much has to be done to compete at this level. Okay, so there is some truth to the fact that you have to go out there and take your lumps, so to speak, on the mound. There's always development or reconfiguring of the breaking ball, almost always. The changeup is a pitch that is almost always has to be learned. So you go through your first year in college essentially with one pitch, and that's a fastball. And then as you go, you learn the breaking ball and the changeup. You develop through sheer repetition better command with a fastball. And hopefully that's where a number of these guys on our pitching staff are going.
What about the makeup of these players who are returners from a character standpoint and actually the development in their mindset moving forward?
I think some have seen some return on their efforts. So I think that some things are kind of clicking, and that's something that's really important. That's a good question. Hopefully they just keep, pounding away at it each and every day, trying to get a little bit better each day. Some days you don't get the return that you'd like to see, but that is the nature of sport. But they've done a good job. They're doing what we ask them to do, I think they got a chance to be competitive this year, certainly.
Shifting our attention to the pieces that you've added, who are some of the names that folks and fans will begin to know about this season?
For me, that's to be determined. We have numbers of guys that have been in the program that are returning, and that's why we're kind of excited about the year, because the vast majority of guys that are playing, are guys that have been in the program that have been on the roster for a year or two. We'll see. We have some freshman pitchers, Colton Chupp being one of them that's been healthy. That we're hopeful that he's going to be out there and be able to pitch. Trey Vanderway is a guy that's been injured. He's had some elbow and shoulder issues all year. We'll see. He certainly has some ability. Elijah Willingham is another left-handed pitcher that is a freshman that has some ability. So, we'll see if these guys can pull it together and be healthy enough to get out there and help us. I mean, we're certainly hopeful of that.
You told the supporters of this program at the Groundhog's Day luncheon just a week or so ago that you felt like this was one of the more lofty schedules you've ever put out there, that it really was going to be a challenge for your team. Let's turn our attention to the schedule now and kind of break down for us how it lays out in your mind.
Well, you know, we're having first couple weekends we have those tournaments where we have and we play different teams. So we're going to start out with George Mason, Dayton, and Stony Brook the first weekend. You know, Stony Brook was in the regional last year, and George Mason always has a good team, and Dayton always seems to give us everything we want. So, you know, right out of the chute, we're playing 3 good teams. And I feel that this is the strongest schedule that we've put together in my time here. We are going to travel to Kentucky this year and play them 3 times up there. We are going to play South Carolina twice this year instead of once like we normally do. You know, March 15th we'll be down at Fluor Field to play them there, and that should be a big evening, you know, for USC Upstate. You know, we play the schools around here that we normally play, you know, Furman, Wofford, Gardner-Webb, Asheville, they'll all have good teams this year. And then, you know, you're looking at the Atlantic Sun schedule. So, you know, I would anticipate the Atlantic Sun being a very solid conference again this year.
Well, that's a perfect lead-in for us to talk about the Atlantic Sun just a bit. Obviously, North Florida already being revealed as the pick to win it. Florida Gulf Coast going to be strong as always. But from a coach's perspective, knowing what's back and what the pieces are that are supposed to be coming in, how do you see the Atlantic Sun breaking down?
Well, you know, I'm not going to disagree with anything that the coaches voted on, and I think that North Florida has every right to feel like they're going to have a very, very good team this year. I mean, they have, in my mind, they have very good hitters. Their defense is excellent, and they have pitchers too. So, yeah, you know, I think it's a matter of can someone in the conference rise up and compete with them at that level, because they certainly had an excellent team last year, you know. And I always look at the similar schools. You know, Stetson has an outstanding program, as does Florida Gulf Coast. Kennesaw State will find a way to get into the mix. Lipscomb always finds a way, and certainly JU is better too. And so, you know, that's one of the things about the Atlantic Sun that, you know, the vast majority of the schools in the conference are very comparable. They're very competitive. They get after each other, and I think that the spring will be as exciting as any.
You've always shared with us over the years that there are a couple of focal points you look at, that you watch for growth. What would those areas be going into 2016?
Yeah, so certainly. I mean, you hit it right there. I mean, we've got to be better than we were last year, and we've said that we're, you know, to a large degree, we are playing a lot of the same players. So what's going to be the difference between last year and this year? Well, they have to improve not only prior to the start of the season, but during the season, which is one thing that I always try to tell the players that, hey, you know, we are where we are at this given point in time, but that doesn't mean we have to be here for the next 3 months. Okay, so we certainly. Primary goal is to get better across the season, you know, and I always start and stop on the mound. Okay, you know, we've named some pitchers here today, and you know, they've got to compete at a high level. They've got to carry this team to some degree. I mean, they got to find a way to get some outs to give our hitters a chance to be in the game to perform. So. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what transpires. I mean, we sure have been practicing an awful lot, and you know, I feel like we're really close to being ready to play.
Nice to be able to finally line up against somebody in a different uniform.
It sure will be.
That's what's right around the corner. We thank Matt Fincher for visiting with us, and we encourage you, come out, support this baseball program, watch their development across the course of the 2016 spring. You can keep up with everything related to baseball and all other sports here at Upstate at upstatespartans.com.